Hey, Kyle is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NXT 2.0, the Great American Bash event from July 5th, 2022, and it's live from Orlando. We've got 4 title matches tonight out of the 5 in NXT. Big time stuff there. Also, 2 grudge matches to go along with it, and plenty of stuff happens tonight. So let's just get right into it. It was a lot of notes taken tonight, let me tell you. And it started with this video package, with amazing video package to start us off. It was all like a barbecue, but it was way better than last night's Raw barbecue. This one was like a whole production. It seemed like everybody from NXT was invited, so it actually legitimately was I'm guessing like a pool party, barbecue, cookout that they had for the 4th of July that they actually recorded and stuff. Maybe not on the 4th, but it was their workplace celebration. And it looked like a lot of fun, really. So I took a lot of notes in this since I know everybody, even the Performance Center recruits, unlike a lot of people that are going to be covering NXT tonight. So I'll be able to give you the full lowdown. We'd start with it's hosted, of course, by Briggs, Jensen, and Fallon Henley. Briggs and Jensen have their NXT UK tag titles hung up as decorations. We see Ikemen Jiro wearing a watermelon summer outfit, not a jacket like usual. And we see Sloane Jacobs, Ariana Grace, and Brooklyn Barlow in bikinis. They're cheering Ikemen on, who's drinking something we don't know. Idris Enofe, I see, is there as well, but I don't think I ever saw Malik Blade, weirdly enough. And they find clever ways to talk about all the matches tonight, like um, a little cringe, like, oh yeah, how about that Wendy Choo versus Tiffany Stratton match tonight and stuff like that. But I like it. I like it like just as a way to promote what the heck's going on in a fun manner. So then they talk about like I said, the Wendy Choo, Tiffany Stratton's tonight. They talk about the Diamond Mine versus Diamond Mine tag team title match. Then Jensen's staring out in the pool, dreaming about all the women in their bikinis. He's looking at Sloane Jacobs and Ariana Grace in particular. Then he uses a pool noodle to show that he has an erection. And Indy is Hartwell is now there. She's throwing a frisbee around with Nikita Lyons. They're talking about the women's title tag team match between Team 2001, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade versus Toxic Attractions, Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne. Quincy Elliott interrupts those two and says, just because you dream about it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And now Nathan Frazier's drinking with Idris, and they're talking about the main event NXT men's title match, Bron Breakker versus Cameron Grimes. Then Ulyssa Leon and Valentina Ferrar are chilling as Duke Hudson walks by. He winks at them. They say ew. Sangha, we see, is chilling with both of Ulyssa Leon and Valentina Ferrar. That's now 2 weeks out of the last 3, or maybe 2 out of the last 4. I'm time is an illusion, but Sangha gets up and he cannonballs into the pool onto Duke Hudson. Duke says, I'm probably going to get an ear infection now. So Sangha just splashes him with water again. Again, kind of cringe, but also, I mean, I just like seeing everybody from NXT in this environment. So anyway, while that was happening, Jensen was like putting way too much lighter fluid on the grill. And now Fallon Henley goes to light it, and it blows up, seemingly killing everybody and ending the pool party. But when it blows up, it takes us to the intro for Great American Bash, like the announcer, hey, welcome to NXT Great American Bash. And now we're in the arena. So what an opening. I had to pause and rewind a couple times just to make sure I did. I'm sure I still missed, like I said, I didn't see Malik Blade, but why wouldn't he have been there? So anyway, great opening to the Great American Bash. The NXT 2.0 usually has some great openings for their events. I remember in particular the one where Toxic Attraction was all texting with each other, and they're like, did Tony D'Angelo text you guys too? And like Tony was trying to slip in the DMs. So as usual, good stuff. We're in the arena, and we see that there's a picnic and like a cookout set up around the entrance stage, and that will come into play about 1 hour or 2 hours after we see it. So it will come into play eventually. Roxanne Perez's music hits, and we're going to start off with the women's tag team title match, which I'm definitely excited about. I'm a huge Roxanne Perez, Roxy fan. And for the first time in months, Cora tries to ride her skateboard, but it looked bad as usual. So that's why she hasn't been trying it. Remember, she got booed out of the building. I think it was at War Games of all things, where she was supposed to have her big moment later in the match. They were booing her out of the building because she couldn't ride her skateboard. Anyway, Their unofficial name is Team. Well, it almost seems official now. Team 2001, the year they were born, the year I was a sophomore in high school. That's awkward. But anyway, they're looking for their first ever taste. Cora's had a few title shots. Roxanne's first title shot, but either of them have held gold in NXT or WWE. Roxanne Perez looks amazing. She's got like a little highlights in her hair that matches her outfit. Toxic Attraction out next. All three of them. Mandy's in her street clothes. She's the only champion that doesn't have to defend tonight. We got completely matching outfits by Gigi and Jacy. Kind of a weird olive green color that's not flattering, however. Roxanne and Cora kind of have the same color. It looks like a different hue, but it's also different styles. But they tried anyway. Mandy's pants are so tight that it's basically no pants at all when you look at her. It's pretty funny how Cora went from looking completely tiny when she had that tag team with Raquel, and now she looks like a giant when she's in a tag team with Roxanne. So that just tells you, imagine Raquel standing next to Roxanne. Anyway, dueling chants from the crowd almost immediately, and it pretty much sounds like a 50-50 split, which I certainly didn't expect. Toxic Attraction to have so many fans here, especially with the crowd favorites. Team 2001, which maybe tells you that Team 2001 is getting pushed a little too fast. I know Cora's been there a while. Roxanne's already probably the best women's wrestler on the roster, so I don't personally find any problem with her being pushed so fast, but I can see why others might, since she just got here kind of deal. But anyway, Wade questions what Cora's done ever since her breakout performance at War Games. He runs down all the title opportunities she's had and failed at. Jacy gets the better of Cora at the very beginning here, but then both of them tag out. Gigi then takes control with some cheating as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Within that ad break, we see a ton of quick tags that keeps Roxanne isolated in the Toxic Attraction corner, almost all break long. They hit a really nice assisted Bronco Buster at some point, Toxic does, which I don't think I've ever seen that, where one person whips you into the corner and the other hits the Bronco Buster, like the one Bronco version, not the multiple like X-Pac did, like the one Carmelo did at Money in the Bank. That was awesome. A few more double teams, and then we come back from break with Gigi and Roxanne in the ring as the legal women. Gigi is taking it to Roxanne. Roxanne's mouth is on the ropes at a point where Gigi's putting the boot to her. That looks pretty nasty, both as far as painful and like who knows what kind of sweat's been on that rope. Anyway, Gigi looks like she did something with her hair and makeup, but kind of for the worst. Doesn't look as great as usual. Jacy tags in now, and the crowd rallies behind Roxanne. Well, half the crowd. The other half is cheering, "Let's go Toxic," like I was saying. So Jacy hits a big pump kick, but also a big boot from Roxanne hit at the exact same time. Love that. That kind of stuff happens all the time in legitimate kickboxing. All the time they'll each kick each other right in the face, and both will be knocked out. So I like that move here. Of course, they weren't both knocked out, but they both go down. This gets Cora the hot tag, and Gigi comes in as well. So I guess a hot tag to both, but Roxanne was the one in trouble. Cora gets the better of Gigi and gets a 2 count out of it. Gigi then blocks a suplex and tags in Jacy. Cora then knocks Gigi off the apron and sloppily pins Jacy. I don't remember exactly what happened since that was at the beginning of the show, but I just remember it being like kind of awkward. Nothing that was killer though. It didn't kill the momentum of the crowd or anything. Roxanne now tags in. They hit a drop kick Russian leg sweep double team combo on Jacy that looked amazing. Roxanne, of course, was the one doing the Russian leg sweep. That's one of her signature moves that she hits really nicely. And the drop kick was done by Cora. Tag back to Cora now. They hit a double team super kick right after on Jacy as well. Then a tag. Then Mandy pulls the referee out of the ring at this point. Instead of a disqualification, the referee just throws Mandy out of ringside, which is the smart decision because Toxic Attraction would have just kept the belts. So good decision by the referee there. Had to make a tough call. Cora now tags in Roxanne, but Jacy hits Roxanne with a neck breaker right away. Cora now back in the break up the pin. Gigi quickly throws out Cora, and I thought this was about to signal a Toxic Attraction win. They look for a double team on Roxanne, but Cora just immediately jumps right back in. She takes out Cora, does Jayne, and a somewhat awkwardly set up But again, not killer. Pop Rocks, Code Red from Roxanne to Gigi for the 1, 2, 3, the winners, and the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Team 2001, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. And they immediately have Cry Face in the ring. I will definitely buy the T-shirt of the next woman to win a title and not immediately go to the Cry Face. But yeah, going back to that somewhat awkward setup, it just like took Roxanne maybe 2 or 3 seconds of Gigi like bending over for her to be able to fit. I guess maybe Gigi's taller than Roxanne thought or something. Or Gigi didn't bend over enough. Because we all know Roxanne's probably the best wrestler on the roster, so I'm more susceptible to blame Gigi for that. Again, it didn't kill the match. The 2 botches within didn't really affect the crowd whatsoever, and congrats to Team 2001. We will see them in a promo later with some big news, so stay tuned for that. Right after that match, we see Bron Breakker arriving at the CWC. And then in the back, we see Tony D'Angelo. He's talking to Cruz Del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Elektra Lopez. And behind Tony is Stacks. And if you remember, Tony made sure that 2 dimes who got fired legitimately in real life, Tony said he's sleeping with the fishes. He did it. Tony took him out himself. And now Tony says, you might be wondering where Santos Escobar is, he says to the rest of Legado del Fantasma that now has to work for Tony D'Angelo's family. So he says, you might be wondering where Santos Escobar is. Well, last week I told him I have to win the NXT North American title or else. Well, here's the or else. And he shows a picture on his phone, 2 different pictures actually. And it's Santos Escobar in a hospital bed looking rough. Tony says that the only person that did any business for the family out of you Legado guys is Elektra. He gives them 1 more week to prove themselves or else. And he's already established what the or else is. Tony leaves and Elektra says, oh, we got to go check on Santos. So unfortunately, this is the last we ever see of these guys tonight, but this story will pick up again next week. And I do love that they've explained Elektra Lopez's absence as her going off and doing good business. So Tony D'Angelo is happy with what Elektra Lopez has brought to the family so far, and that explains her absence. Now, it wasn't a legitimate absence. She was on 205, or not 205 Live, but Level Up in those weeks where she wasn't on TV. So Elektra Lopez wasn't missing in real life, but I like that they kept her off TV, and they're now explaining that Elektra Lopez did. He said something about she did good works at the docks or something. So hopefully it's nothing like sex work, and we don't have to go that route, and she's just getting like laundering money or something. But I wouldn't be surprised. It is NXT 2.0. Hopefully they never bring that up, though. And a new colorful entrance for Wes Lee now. I swear this guy, Wes Lee, between all his MSK and his singles entrances, has had like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 different theme songs and like 16, 17 different LED board looks. But this new one looks really cool. I hope they stick with it. And he's going to fight Trick Williams next. And we go to an ad break. So you remember we set this up, I think it was last week, but again, time is kind of a, I don't understand how time works. So it might have been 2 weeks ago that Wes Lee was in the ring pouring out his heart, basically for the first time talking about his emotions about losing his tag partner. And then Trick Williams came out and basically called him a loser and stuff like that. And then like this match was set up and Wes Lee was saying like, if Trick thinks my emotions make me weak, he's going to find out my emotions make me stronger. So that's how this match was set up. We go to an ad break. When we come back, we get a video, and it's about Pretty Deadly. Oh, what's up, kind of? Yeah, it was an okay. I would definitely agree with that. It could have been better for sure. I like this video though. It's Pretty Deadly. They're putting themselves over, and they're putting over Essex in England, which isn't a city. It's more like a state. I don't know what they call their states in England, but Essex is like a state. And then they said they would never drink beer, but those rednecks, Briggs and Jensen, they love beer, and that's because they're weird or whatever. They're rednecks. And then they're like, don't forget the third one, that Fallon Henley with her man hands. Because remember, Fallon Henley slapped one of the Pretty Deadly guys last week. So they mock rednecks, and it was pretty funny segment here. And when we come back, Wade Barrett is giving us a little Essex crash course. He's like, well, Essex is kind of like the Jersey Shore of England, and no rednecks allowed. So I like all of that. And that's setting up pretty. Remember, Briggs and Jensen went to NXT UK and just so happened to win the titles when they were never scheduled to. They had just gotten new tag title champions at NXT UK, who then got injured, I think, in the title match where they won it. So they immediately had to relinquish them. And for whatever reason, they decided to give it to Briggs and Jensen, who were just over there for. They've been sending a lot of people over to NXT UK for an excursion. Like recently, we've seen Lash Legend, Ivy Nile, Damon Kemp had a whole like backstage segment where he was day drinking with Wolfgang. Like, so if you like NXT 2.0, don't sleep on NXT UK. Every single week, you get to see NXT 2.0 guys, including that's where Saray's been. If you've been missing Saray, she's been over on NXT UK. So anyway, Trick Williams, he comes out to some new music. It is not nearly as good as his old music. How many times do I have to say that in WWE or NXT recently, like in the last 6 months? Oh, they come out to new music and it's not as good as their old music. Over and over and over. Anyway, Trick Williams has a whole new look to go with his new music. He's wearing a Muhammad Ali robe. Right when you see it, even if you're not a big boxing fan, you'll recognize it as Muhammad Ali's with the white and the black trim. He's also got their tights, they're black, they're full pants, but they're made to look like Muhammad Ali's boxing trunks as well. Carmelo is gonna be out here as the corner man for Trick, as in like a boxing corner man, not a wrestling manager. So he's got like water and stuff that he has puts in the corner like a boxing match. So Trick, when this match starts, hits a really big Beal on Wes Lee. I mean, nowhere near the Keith Lee Beals, but Wes Lee almost lands on his feet. I wonder if he was trying to land on his feet or if Trick hit the Beal so much that he over rotated and almost landed on his feet, but didn't. But right after that, they trade roundhouse kicks for like 4 in a row, like woo woo. And I'm wearing my Bruce Lee shirt tonight too, so I was liking those roundhouse kicks. None of them connected though. Right after that, Carmelo gets Trick some water, like a good corner man, and USA Network completely kind of ruins this match because you know how the crowd likes to chant "whoop that Trick," like that movie. What was that movie where they were in LA? I mean Atlanta. But anyway, every time they say Trick, they censor it from the crowd. So throughout this entire match, it's like you even like because when they censor something, everything stops on the audio. So like Wade Barrett will be talking, he'll be like, "Yeah, this is a great," and then they go for the, and then they're like, it was terrible sounding. Anyway, this happens throughout the entire night. Whoever was on the USA Network censor thing, oh, you like the main event? I like that, but I like the what was it? I like the North American title match a little better. And that's the one I'm on, or no, I'm not on that yet. Just Carmelo's out here. But Trick does the he tries to get the chance. Okay, so this is gonna take a little bit of backstory if you don't know, but Trick Williams tries to get a Trick Boom Boombayé chant going, and this is a Muhammad Ali thing, and it's also where Shinsuke Nakamura got the original name of the Boom Boombayé finisher. Well, when he got to NXT, they made Shinsuke Nakamura change his finisher to Kinshasa. Now, even more big long story here. Kinshasa is the city in African Congo where that Muhammad Ali fight, and Boombaye is in the African language, the Banta language or something like that, means kill him. So WWE didn't want anything to do that with. So I'm guessing Trick Williams did not ask for permission to get a Boombaye chant going on his own here. But we'll see. Maybe they'll keep it going forward because it went with his Muhammad Ali stuff. But anyway, the action is really back and forth. But Wes Lee's looking better for sure. Much more seasoned, much more experience. But Trick Williams has definitely gotten way, way better in a short amount of time. I think he came in with no experience. He's just a college football player from University of South Carolina. But I think he's really gotten improved. Anyway, Trick puts I call it ether, and you can think of it as chloroform as well, but they call it rubbing alcohol so that they didn't like get called by the police or whatever here. But Trick Williams puts ether on his hands from one of those bottles that Carmelo had with him, rubs it on Wes Lee's face. This gets Wes Lee a little woozy or whatever. Trick Williams hits the Trouble in Paradise kick for the 1-2-3, and this man just drugged his opponent and won. So that's interesting. Um, so here's what we got with Trick Williams. He's got new music. He's got a new gimmick as Muhammad Ali. Melo's acting like his quarterman in a boxing match, and he drugs his opponents to win. So wow. I knew that he already had the Trouble in Paradise as his finisher, but even that, if you never saw that, then you're like, oh, and he's stealing Kofi's finisher? Like, what the heck? So anyway, decent match. Was pretty short though, and more of a storyline than anything. So in the back, Tiffany Stratton is getting her makeup done, and she's complaining to the makeup lady. Then Tiffany closes her eyes, probably to get some kind of eye makeup. Wendy Choo replaces the makeup lady, and Wendy Choo like says something, and Tiffany. I'm a Tiffany Stratton fan, but she terribly acts here, saying, "That's not your voice, makeup lady." Like the worst acting you've ever seen. And Tiffany is great at her promos when she's being, oh yeah, like I cannot believe it. Can you believe that Wendy Choo is just like, oh my god. When she's doing that, it's great, but terrible acting here by Tiffany. Wendy throws powder or some kind of makeup into Tiffany's face, and we go to a picture-in-picture ad break at this point. And it's really awkward because right when we go to the ad break, the shots don't line up at all, because right when the ad break starts, you see Tiffany like storming out of some kind of room. But when we had just left and when they went to ad break, Tiffany was lying on the ground. So they didn't match those up very well. Nothing too big. And as soon as the ad break starts, Tiffany is it's now like a hardcore match backstage. So pretty interesting here. Backstage brawl there. Tiffany gains advantage with I think it was first aid equipment, and then Tiffany's shorts are definitely 2 sizes too small, but no complaints here. They slip around backstage, kind of they're slipping over things. Wendy eventually pushes Tiffany over a chair, and a wheelchair, and then pushes her over, kind of like Zack Ryder had happen to him. But Wendy finds a throne. I'm not sure if this is Triple H's or William Regal's throne, but Wendy finds a throne in the back and sits on it. The fight eventually spills out to the entrance stage. They fight around that picnic area that was set up. Wendy finds a grill that's smoking and has hot dogs on it. I'm pretty sure, I couldn't quite see, but I'm pretty sure she takes a like smoldering hot dog and hits Tiffany with it. And Tiffany tries to battle back but can't. Wendy is doing this all while wearing bunny slippers, by the way. And now they get in the ring. Tiffany bails only to get pulled back by her hair. And this is where I write, Tiffany better win this after all this BS. Finally, Tiffany gets a headlock as we come back from the break. She hits a shoulder tackle on Wendy and then bails the ring again, only for Wendy to pull her hair again. But this time, Tiffany's able to reverse it and stays in control. A little graphic on the bottom says Apollo Crews is next, and it doesn't say like in a match, so I didn't think it was going to be a match, and it isn't a match. Tiffany hits a stomp for a 2 count, not from the top rope, just from a standing position. Tiffany then works over the hand of Wendy. So that's one of the stories of this match, is that Tiffany hurts Wendy Choo's hand. Wendy then hits a nice handspring elbow. Tiffany hits a big power bomb after that. Neither women are giving up. They both kick out. Tiffany blocks a suplex, but Wendy counters the next move and then hits a power bomb of her own for a 2 count. Great moves. Great stuff here. It started out really sloppy and kind of awkward with the backstage brawl, but I love this little fight with the big moves they got going on here. And Wendy, after that big move, puts a sleeper hold on. That's one of her finishers. And Tiffany's in the middle of the ring, on the mat with the sleeper hold on. I thought, is this it? But no, Tiffany attacks that injured hand familiar, and that forces Wendy to relinquish the hold. Wendy then hits a suplex anyway for a 2 count. Huge moves, great match. Right after that, though, is Tiffany blocks a move by and then hits the spinning Vader bomb for the 1-2-3. So I'm not quite sure. Like, it seemed like it just, let's end this thing. Let's get this over with, because it was like I know they do that a lot, especially in like the Usos. What was it? 25 minutes Usos for Street Profits, and then it's just kind of all of a sudden, 1D and it's over with. Like, so I guess that happens sometimes. But Tiffany had to win this, so thank goodness. Wendy shows that just like Orange Cassidy, she's not all gimmick. She can wrestle. Wendy was pulling off some really good moves in this match. but that doesn't mean I have to like their gimmicks. I'm warming up to the Orange Cassidy gimmick in AEW, but this Wendy Choo gimmick, I kind of liked it at the beginning, but it's gotten worse and worse and worse to the point where she's just a parody of Doink the Clown at this point. Like, legitimately, go watch Doink the Clown highlights, and Wendy Choo's doing all the same stuff. Meanwhile, Tiffany Stratton is the complete package, other than that terrible little bit of acting earlier. So Tiffany Stratton is going to be a big star, probably a bigger star than like even everybody's favorite Cora, Jade, and Roxanne Perez. In the back now, we've got the tag champs, Roxanne and Cora, right on cue. Cora says, finally, after so long, I finally got a championship. Roxanne says she's happy. It's so amazing. And next week, I am ready. Next week, I'm cashing in my breakout contract on Mandy Rose to end Toxic Attraction once and for all. Now, if you're like, hold on, wait a minute, didn't you cash in your contract already to get this tag title shot? Nope. Remember when out of nowhere, Katana Chance and Caden Carter were like, no, we want to be the next title contenders, even though they just had a title shot at in your house. But since they won, like, legitimately, Roxanne and Cora won a number one contendership match to get that title shot. So Roxanne did not have to cash in her breakout contract. And wow, that'll be interesting to see what's going to happen next week. I'm assuming it'll just be more cheating, and Mandy will retain. There's always these in the tiny chance that Cora costs Roxanne the title. But then there's also just the chance that we might have Roxanne Perez with both women's titles in NXT. So that's a possibility as well. I don't know where they're going to go with that. 3 possibilities there, and I don't know which one they're going to choose. After that, in the locker room, Bron Breakker's now warming up. And Cameron Grimes comes in, and he says, how's the shoulder doing, Bron? Bron says it's fine. Cameron says, well, I'm going to take it to 100% tonight. And Bron says, well, I wouldn't have it any other way. Pretty much meaningless segment there. So we go to an ad break. Let me get a drink. I really like this next segment. So Apollo Crews comes out, and yet again, new music that's terrible. So new terrible music for Apollo, but we can look past that. Big cheers for Apollo. Now, don't forget, with all these weird video packages that's been running for Apollo Crews this last month, and then last week, Apollo Crews basically confirmed that, yes, he can see into the future and maybe even has time travel abilities. I'm not even joking. At the very least, Apollo Crews has confirmed he can see into the future. So Apollo, in a leather jacket and jeans, gets on the mic. He says he'd like to share something with y'all. Or I'd like to share some with y'all. When I got home from last year, for the last year, my kids, and I asked my kids what they thought. My kids said they didn't even recognize me on TV. But since my return to NXT, they are watching Daddy again. They ask me so many questions when I get home, and I said, Daddy loves you. Thank you for igniting my passion again. It's been here a month, and Zion Quinn is right. This place has changed a lot. There's a ton of super athletic, hungry young men here. And then he talks about some of the guys, puts over the NXT title match later. But he does mention, I think me and Grimes could make magic in that ring together going for the title. And then Apollo's about to talk about Bron too, but is interrupted by some heat wave synth music. That means it could only be one man, Giovanni Vinci. So before I go on with what Vinci says, let's just back it up a little bit. I was a little worried here that Apollo just spoiled the ending. I thought Apollo maybe spoiled the main event by saying, oh yeah, Grimes and I would make magic in that ring together, because we've already established the fact that Apollo Crews can see into the future. So I thought that Apollo was telling us Cameron Grimes was winning later, and spoiler alert, that does not happen. So and like I said, he was about to talk about Bron right after that, before he got interrupted with the synth music. Giovanni Vinci comes out wearing a $100 million suit, and he says, well, Apollo, I noticed you left me off your list. Vinci says, I'll outperform you in anything and everything. And Apollo says, well, let's just fight right now. Come on, let's go. Vinci says, next week you'll find out who the best athlete is in NXT. You will lose, but that gives you 7 days from now to figure out an excuse to tell your children. So cutting deep there, that probably the children shot means that Apollo's definitely winning that match. They wouldn't have the guy talk about his children and then have him lose, which is unfortunate for Vinci. But when you have 2 really good guys in a match, one of them's got to lose, right? So anyway, in the back, Ivy now is asking if this is the end of Diamond Mine, or no, she's asked, is this the end of Diamond Mine by an interviewer? Ivy says, no, they'll find a way. They're just going to find out who the best tag team is. And then we hear some yelling in the background, and the camera pans out to show Tatum Paxley arguing with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. So Ivy breaks it up and sends Katana and Kaden packing. Then she says to Tatum that you need to finish your own battles. I'll see you at the Diamond Mine gym at 7 a.m. So this makes Tatum smile huge. She says, all right, I'll be there. And if you guys haven't been following this story, Tatum Paxley has been trying to join the Diamond Mine for about 4 months, maybe even all of 2022. Like before you guys even knew who Tatum Paxley was. I mean, Tatum Paxley, before you even knew who she was probably already trying to go to the Diamond Mine. So that's pretty cool. That story's been going for a while. I was wondering if they just dropped it, because at one point Ivy told her, "Oh yeah, let's be partners and stuff," and then they kind of dropped it. So we go from that to Grayson Waller in the locker room, and he says, "Hey Carmelo, my mom really loved that autograph. I also sold another one for 20 cents." So that was a pretty funny line. Then somewhere else, Carmelo tells us, "Yeah, we used to be boys, but you're a snake. There's a difference between common and special. I am special. That's all it is, and that's all it's ever gonna be." So I'm excited for that match, and that is probably my match of the night. But before that, we see JD McDonough in a video package. She's putting some kind of eye mask on and stretching in the sun, doing a bunch of stuff I don't know anything about. And he talks about his dad told him he could do anything and be anything he wants, and that's how the Irish Ace was born. So they show a bunch of JD McDonough's highlights when he was in NXT UK as Jordan Devlin, and he says, "I'm so far ahead of the rest of the roster, they couldn't even see me if they had a set of binoculars," which I don't like that as much as Monty Brown's line that he used to say back in TNA was, "I could have 10,000 doorknobs on me and you still couldn't handle me." That line's way better. Anyway, JD McDonough says, "Well, enjoy Great American Bash, because next week NXT 2.0 changes forever." And I believe him. I believe that we're about to have a huge JD McDonough push, and we don't even have to wait till next week for that to start. So we'll it should be some good stuff. He's a great wrestler. So in the trainer's room, Bron's getting looked at, his shoulder looked at, and the doctor tries to tape it up, but Bron says no, he's fine, and he leaves without getting it taped up. And then we go to the ring. It is time for the North American Championship match. Grayson Waller makes his entrance to almost 100% boost from the crowd. The crowd's all in on Carmelo Hayes for this one. And I almost hope I write down, I almost hope Grayson wins, because I love when the crowd just boos heavily. And I wouldn't mind just Carmelo dropping the title here and going up the Raw with Trick Williams and joining MVP. I mean, that would be amazing. Anyway, the lights go out, and Mello has a new entrance too. But it's pretty epic. It's almost as if like Michael Jordan is making his entrance for the Bulls. Trick Williams is going to be the ring announcer. He says, "The man that don't miss, the leader of the new school, the A champion, Carmelo Hayes," who then Carmelo Hayes' regular music hits, and he makes a entrance with a ton of pyro that just spurts out forever. Carmelo's wearing like a red, white, and blue outfit and tracksuit, and he looks like $1 million, to be honest. Carmelo Hayes looks like a star here. And this is what I write. If he drops the title to Grayson here and goes straight to Raw, take Trick Williams with him for sure, that would be amazing. Anyway, the bell rings, and it definitely has a big fight feel. This crowd is electric. Love this. That made the match even better than it was. Both men complained to the ref that their hair was pulled right at the beginning. I like that. We get more censoring from the USA Network. Really annoying all night. They try to end it. They both try to end it quickly with roll-ups. Then both of them show off their athleticism by dodging attacks, and eventually Mel is able to take control. A little bit after this, though, Grayson slides out of the ring and tries to roll back in for his stunner finisher, but Mel is able to block it. Grayson then hits a massive rolling elbow strike. That looked great. Then goes into the middle rope, but eats 2 consecutive enziguris from Mello. Mello then hits the fadeaway, which is like a no-look springboard leg drop, really to a draped over the ropes opponent. Great stuff there. Grayson then gets control soon after, though, takes the fight to the outside, and there had to have been at least 30 to 40 centerings tonight. And it's only I looked at the clock. We're only 65 minutes into the show, so we get a picture-in-picture ad break here. Grayson dominates until Melo hits another enziguri. A lot of enziguris by Melo tonight. Then ties Grayson up into the ropes, hits a back elbow, but Grayson takes charge again with a middle rope leg drop. Melo fights back, but gets knocked down and put into a submission hold. And now we're back from break. So Grayson is putting the boots to Melo, toying with the A-champ. Melo takes an armbar, tries an armbar, but Grayson's able to block it. Melo then blocks an electric chair drop and then hits the armbar slam. I don't know what else to call it. It's like that move they do when they put people in an armbar, except he just doesn't keep a hold applied. And that gets a 2 count. Melo then puts the crossface in, but Waller probably rolls through twice to get out, maybe even 3 times. Grayson's now looking for a triangle choke, but it is one of the sloppiest triangle chokes I've ever seen. It doesn't work. Both men are now down. Trick's having a conniption on the ringside. The crowd's chanting NXT at this point. Really good stuff. We get a striking exchange now, which is won by Melo with a springboard clothesline. Grayson hits a drop kick to the knee and a nasty-looking blockbuster for a 2. That was amazing. The crowd's going nuts now. This is better than Carmelo and Cameron Grimes, in my opinion. Super sloppy move by Grayson next as a stunner hits Melo. So twice kind of Grayson kind of botches in this match. It still doesn't take away. I still liked all the rest of the match. But I can see if it's not your favorite match from those sloppy-ass moves. Melo then rolls out of the ring, and we get even more censoring. Trick gets in the way of Grayson, who's trying to hit his roll into the ring stunner, but Wes Lee comes out and takes out Trick Williams. And Melo then hits his move and is able hit a move anyway and goes up top, hits the nothing but net top rope famouser for the 1, 2, 3. And the winner and still North American champion is Carmelo Hayes. Great match. Those few sloppy parts didn't take it away from me. Really good action, everything else in that match. So Carmelo, I mean, he really is. If you think, I mean, is he the A champion? I would say yes. Carmelo is the A champion. I don't think Bron Breakker is better than Carmelo. I don't think Bron Breakker elevates the NXT title better than Melo elevates the North American title. And just based off the 2 matches tonight, I enjoyed this one way better. So in the back now, Zion Quinn says Apollo's eyes are on the wrong person. When you type WWE Superstar on Google, a picture of me pops up. A title reign for Apollo is out of the question. So that does set up. They confirm later on that will be a match next week. So Ivy Now's now in the Diamond Mine gym, and she's trying to pump up both teams. Remember, it's going to be the Creed brothers versus Roderick Strong and Damon Kemp for the titles. Roderick says, Damon, let's go, and then they make their entrance. So next is that title match. So we go to an ad break. When we come back, we've got an interview with Mandy. She's got terrible-looking hair. And she says Roxanne got lucky. This happened before, and Gigi and Jacy got their titles right back. Which, if you remember, who was it? Roxanne, Raquel and Dakota Kai won the titles for like a week or 2, and then Jacy and Gigi got him back. But Mandy continues. Roxanne is riding high on adrenaline and made the biggest mistake of her life, challenging me. Next week, she can join her little friend Cora in the Failure Club. That's if she even makes it to our match. And I had to rewind this like 3 times. Mandy's talking way too fast and is all over the place. There's no way a normal fan had any clue what she just said. And no normal fan is going to rewind it to figure out what the heck she said. Now we get a video. It's Chase U, and it's at Chase University in the classroom. Andre Chase welcomes in the new students, including Tia Hale. Bodie is falling asleep in the front row, which makes Andre Chase mad. Bodie says the reason is because Thea Hale, who we saw a couple weeks ago as his new roommate, he says Thea Hale never sleeps. And Thea says, well, we've just been watching Money in the Bank 20 times since it happened or whatever. Some random guy now says, well, John Adams said we should have celebrated July. The 4th of July should be the 2nd of July. That's when it really should be. This makes Andre Chase yell. It cusses him out, makes him leave. That was hilarious. That's where we remember when we first saw Andre Chase. That's what he was doing. We haven't really seen him cuss out a random guy in a long time, so that was great. Thea then says, "Hey, Mr. Chase, you know, it'd be great if we go to England." Andre Chase says, "Oh, yeah, let's go. School field trip." So that's really weird and cringe how they set that up. But apparently Andre Chase and some of them are going to be on NXT UK soon as well. So that's what I was saying about if you like NXT 2.0, make sure you watch NXT UK every week because you're guaranteed to get at least one, maybe even two matches. And those are only hour long every week. So you could probably watch in 40 minutes. 45 at the most. In the ring, the Creeds are already at the end of their entrance as the bell rings. Remember, Roddy and Kemp came out before the break, and this is a title match, but it does not have the big fight feel like that last title match. The crowd just doesn't know what to do with this Diamond Mine versus Diamond Mine thing, and it brings the match down a little bit because the crowd is just dead. Anyway, what the action was good. So Roddy and Brutus start out in the ring with some great grappling. I love grappling. Then Julius and Damon tag in after that. Julius takes his eye off Kemp to turn over to Roderick. So Kemp just hits a big back suplex, tags back in Roddy. They isolate Julius into the corner with quick tags. But Kemp loses control, lets Brutus tag in. Some quick tags by the Creed now with a double team each time has Kemp completely in trouble. Someone from the crowd is completely humming the Creed's theme song perfectly, which was awesome. Brutus then hits a massive top rope cannonball to the outside, and yet again looks like he came very close to destroying his ankle, shattering his leg into 17 pieces. I don't think this should be part of Brutus's move set. It's just a matter of time until he breaks his leg and he's out for a year. And then what does that do for his brother? You know what I mean? Is it really worth it? Sure, the cannonball is a great looking move, but is it worth getting you injured for a year? I don't think so. And that's twice now. I think the last two times he said it full impact from the top rope to the outside, it both times looked like he was millimeters away from ankle and leg in 17 pieces. Anyway, we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Even Roddy's looking a little concerned as he's talking trash. You can see it in his eyes. But Brutus gets up eventually and doesn't seem to limp around too much or anything like that in this match. So he avoided disaster yet again. But I'm just saying it's only going to be a matter of time. You like if things are a 10% odd, it only takes like 10 times for that one for it to happen once. You know what I'm saying? But now things are getting juicy. So they work over Kemp for a while Roddy gets a tag, and Roddy and Julius then things break down. This gets into a fist fight with a ton of aggression. It looks like they were legitimately mad at each other. That was awesome. Kemp tags in. He works over a chin lock on Julius to try and calm things down. Roddy now back in. Julius tries to fight back, but Roddy uses his experience to maintain control. When we come back from the break, Julius is isolated in the wrong corner with some more quick tags by Roddy and Kemp. Kemp then keeps Julius from tagging out and takes out Brutus on the apron, but none of that works. Brutus just tags in almost immediately after. Brutus then hits a terrible, terrible looking mounted clubbing blows where he's like, ah, ah. They look like they wouldn't hurt a freaking baby seal. Like, what was that? So if you have moves in your repertoire that don't look like they're actually connecting, take those moves out. Simple. Anyway, now I lost my spot and everything. That was just so bad, bro. Anyway, Brutus does a backflip for no reason after this, and Roddy comes in now, slaps Julius on the apron. So Roderick and Julius definitely are the aggressors in this match. Julius tries to come in, but Brutus stops his brother. While Brutus's back turn, he eats two big Roderick strong knee lifts. Kemp now in. He works over a chin lock. I swear I've said that 3 times now. Why do they only trust Kemp to do the chin lock? Anyway, Brutus fights out, and Kemp hits a nice suplex. We then get a slingshot spear by Kemp that looked nice. Brutus is able to kick out at 2. Brutus dodges a shoulder tackle and is able to tag out. Roderick and Julius are now in. Massive deadlift suplex to Roderick. Then an overhead belly-to-belly suplex to Roderick. They throw hands again. It's breaking down. Julius takes down Roddy again with an amateur-style throw. Julius now is pumping up the crowd, but that allows Roderick to tag in Kemp. Julius just simply hits another amateur takedown and his sliding clothesline finisher for the 1-2-3 on Kemp. Kind of an anticlimactic ending. And your winners and still NXT Men's Tag Team Champions, the Creed Brothers. So Julius is staring down with Roddy. They're staring down each other on the outside as they lift their titles, and the Creeds help Damon Kemp to his feet. So definitely looks like Julius and Roderick are almost beyond repair kind of deal. So we'll see where that goes. I'm definitely excited to see where it goes next. But it does look like Ivy now has her own little side story now, bringing in Tatum Paxley to the Diamond Mine. We now get a video package. I didn't have time to look this up. If you guys know, if you're in the if you're still here, Kenneth, let me know who this is, this Axiom guy. So I have no clue. I haven't heard anything about this. I think I heard him say that he's Italian. So I mean, it's not Fabian Eichner. I'm pretty sure of that. So anyway, this is really, really weird, especially considering if you remember who, what's her name, Kiana James has like the same. What's Kiana James' gimmick that we were told? Oh, she's a businesswoman that crunches the numbers, and she's really good at math. So now we get a video package about some Italian guy. He tells us, "Oh, I was really, really good at math, but then I got bullied over it. I close my eyes and I see numbers. I've been told it's gift, but I'm also gifted in the ring. It all comes down to an equation. I am Axiom." So if anyone can help me out, who the heck is this Axiom? I didn't have time to look it up. Usually I'm all over these stuff. I don't know who it is, but what the heck? That's the exact same gimmick they gave Kiana James. So unless they're an item or like Kiana James is going to be his manager, then I gave the same gimmick to a different person 2 or 3 months away from each other, which is crap. Lazy booking, as Jim Cornette was call it. Anyway, maybe I'll try and look that up before I go off the air. But yeah, I don't know who Axiom is as of right now. We get a recap of the Bron Cameron feud, and we go to an ad break. When we come back, it's Sophia Cromwell, Mr. Stone, and Von Wagner getting interviewed. Stone and Sophia complain about Von Wagner not being on Great American Bash and how the fans disrespect Von Wagner, which was funny. Solo Sikoa walks up and he says, "What are you complaining about?" And Von Wagner stopped. Mr. Stone and Sophia wanted to talk, but Von Wagner says, "I got this." And he basically just tells Solo, "You ain't nothing." The officials have to keep them from fighting. And we find out later on that will be a match next week. And wow, is Solo Sikoa going to lose again? I hope not. So also next week, it will be probably in the main event for the NXT Women's Title, Mandy Rose versus Roxanne Perez. Like I said, I could see Mandy winning, I could see Roxanne winning, or I could see Cora Jade turning on Roxanne. Those are kind of your three options there. Also next week is Apollo Crews versus Giovanni Vinci, and like I said, they also announced that Solo Sikoa will fight Von Wagner, and it can't be too long before Pretty Deadly fight Briggs and Jensen for the NXT UK tag titles. So it's time for the main event. We see Cameron Grimes and Bron walking through the back. Cameron comes out first. Not very many cheers, almost no reaction at all, which is kind of sad. I think a lot of it has to do with like he's not the exaggerated character anymore, and then a little bit has to do with they like Bron as well. But Bron comes out and almost no reaction from the crowd as well. He a little bit louder than Grimes, but a little awkward. Maybe the crowd just got killed off with that really good North American title match. And once you see like a really good match like that, then it's hard to ever come back and be like you get like worn out per se. So I write down well, since we've already established that Apollo can see the future, I'm going to be real mad if Cameron Grimes wins this tonight, because then that means Apollo spoiled it earlier for someone like me who looks into all the different small details. But no, that's not what happens. So it's not like Apollo said, "Oh, you're going to be champion." He just mentioned him first as if he knew that was going to be the champion. Anyway, Cameron looks so small next to Bron, which I mean, Cameron isn't a big guy, but I didn't think he was that small. And not a big fight feel from the crowd yet again. So 2 title matches after that North American one didn't have a big fight feel. But now we get a couple dueling chants, so the crowd's trying to get a little bit louder. And Cameron goes after the shoulder right away. Everybody's been the announcers. Everybody's putting over this big shoulder injury for Bron. Bron gets mad about that. He's like, "Why are you going after the shoulder?" Because I'm trying to win the title. Slow start, but entertaining here. And the pace picks up with a huge lariat. from Bron, and then they immediately go to a picture-in-picture ad break. So right when it got good, they go to picture-in-picture ad break. And Bron tries a tackle but hurts his shoulder. Cameron fights back, but Bron takes control. That's when he hurts his shoulder. After that, Grimes then gets an armbar on, and Bron suplexes his way out. Then Bron's looking for the Gorilla Military Press, but Grimes blocks it. Then hits a few more moves, knocking Bron out of the ring, and a flipping seated senton to Bron, and some huge kicks by Grimes here. Back in the ring now, Grimes works over the shoulder again, and we're told Von Wagner will fight Solo Sikoa next week. Really super slow pace for this match so far. Somewhat boring. I get that they're telling a story with this shoulder injury, but doesn't mean everything's got to be this damn slow. Then Bron fires up after some yes kicks, but hurts his shoulder again. Bron fights through the pain, however, and hits a really good-looking spine buster. Both men are down now. Once they get to their knees, they exchange strikes while on their knees. I like that spot. Breaker then hits another big suplex, and the crowd is behind Bron now. Bron dodges a kick, but dodges one kick, but gets hit by another. Grimes hits that really amazing crossbody Spanish fly move where they both go for the crossbody, and then Grimes turns it into like a mid-air Spanish fly. Always a really and the fact that he can do it to the much larger Bron makes it look even better. That gets a 2 count. Love that move. Grimes then goes for the arm again, but Bron is able to fight through the pain. So Grimes was hitting the arm, but Bron's just fighting through the pain. He's selling it, but he's still going. But Bron then goes for the top rope and hits it, the top rope. Frankensteiner, he doesn't really land on his arm, but he doesn't sell it either. Grimes kicks out at 2 out of that one. Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what's the point of if you want to tell us a boring kind of story about this arm and make the match boring because of it, then don't have like Bron do a freaking top rope Frankensteiner here and just act like his arm's fine. Do one or the other. You can't do both. Anyway, Grimes kicked out of 2 of that Frankensteiner. Bron's looking for the spear to end it now, but he hits the turnbuckle kind of in the same manner that he did last week, but it didn't snap. That probably would have been a better visual if they made the rope snap like it did last week right here, but it is what it is. Right after that, Grimes locks in another submission, but Bron overpowers it. Grimes immediately throws Bron into the turnbuckle. Oh, this is the one where it should have snapped. And then he hits the cave-in, which is one of the finishers of Grimes. Grimes and Bron kicks out at 2.9. I thought that could have been it, especially because I was thinking that Apollo Crews spoiled it already since he can see into the future. But no, 2.9. I kind of bought that one. I thought it was over. But once Bron kicked out, I knew I knew Bron was winning. That's for sure. So Grimes goes for the middle rope right after that. Gets cut in half with a big Bron spear. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. Another kind of anticlimactic ending. I guess these kind of title matches tonight were anticlimactic endings because there's so much that they tried to fit on this damn NXT. Like, you should see the amount of notes I had to take for a 2-hour show. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. So that kind of explains why all these like finishes are kind of like anticlimactic to me anyway. They're kind of come out of nowhere. Which can make the matches entertaining. You don't know when exactly they're going to end. But also, if you're able to create your own ending, why wouldn't you create it as climactic as possible and not anticlimactic? Anyway, 1, 2, 3, like I said, the winner and still NXT men's champion is Bron Breakker. And Bron Breakker is celebrating. He's going up the entrance ramp. They put up the little graphic to say that the show's over, basically. It looks like we're about to fade to black. And out of nowhere, JD McDonough attacks Bron Breakker from behind. JD McDonough has some like really bad looking hair, it looked like. And then he slams Bron Breakker through a table, one of those like picnic tables. And then JD McDonough says, "You should have been listening because the person I was talking about is you." So yeah, it looks like JD McDonough will be the next challenger for Bron Breakker. I know there's a lot of people that don't like JD McDonough based on his personal reasons. I don't know how that either way, but I'm able to. I use this as my example every time. I'm able to go back and watch a Chris Benoit match and say it was a good match, but it's not it doesn't excuse what Chris Benoit ever did in his life. So this is kind of the same thing. We don't know what JD McDonough was accused of, if it's true or not. I'm not here to speculate if it was. If we're here to speculate about that, then like people like Theory and Riddle would have to be under the same scrutiny, and at that point, like who's left that doesn't have any scrutiny off of them? And I know you'll name names like Mustafa Ali, who seems like a stand-up guy and doesn't have anything against him and stuff like that, but until they're proven in the court of law or whatever, there's major proof, then I'm still going to cover them as if they were just any other wrestler. So that's all I got to say about that. And it looks like we're going to have to be covering JD McDonough a lot from now on. So that's the end of the show. There was no house shows to cover this last week, but they will return. NXT returns to the house show loop, the Largo loop, this weekend, including a Saturday show in Orlando. So I wonder if that's in a little bit bigger venue since that's their home base. It would be cool if it was in the arena where the UCF Knights play. So I'll be here next week and I'll go over what happens at the live shows. It's always good to look over those. And I'm one of the only people that put out a review for Level Up. So definitely check those out. I pride myself on trying to study what's going on in the Performance Center the best I can, since I'm like 1,500 miles away from Orlando. But I really, really try my best to keep an eye on that. So check out my Level Up reviews if you're an NXT fan. And then, like I keep saying, check out those NXT UK shows, and I also review those because so many NXT 2.0 guys are on those. So we've got a lot to look forward to next week with all those matches, and we're gonna find out the latest with the Tony D'Angelo family. I have no idea where they're gonna go with that. He did mention that Elektra Lopez was putting in the work, but nobody else was. So that's something to keep an eye on. And other than that, I still have no idea if Roxanne Perez is going to be a double champion next week or not. And that's good. That's a good thing. I like when we don't know what's going to happen. Also, remember Chase Hughes going over to the UK. Ivy Niles bringing in Tatum Paxley officially to the Diamond Mine finally. Zion Quinn has that beef with Apollo. Apollo already looked into Zion Quinn's future and said it doesn't look good. And then the Carmelo and Trick Williams, they kind of added depth to their character again this week. So those guys are looking really, really good. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling anything with Bron Breakker. I think the stuff with Joe Gacy killed Bron Breakker in my mind. For me personally, I don't root for Bron Breakker. I don't find excitement when he gets on the screen. I don't like his promos. All his moves are like, oh yeah, I've seen you do that a million times now. So I'm just not. I'm kind of cold on Bron Breakker, and I think that's because of the Joe Gacy stuff. It was all the things Bron Breakker shouldn't have been doing, like trying to act scared and trying to act like, oh, what are you doing here? Remember when he walked into that cage all stupidly with the voice of his father playing on the iPad? So all that stuff just made me like, oh, Bron, you're a freaking nerd. I don't like you. So we'll see if he can kind of recover from that into, like, they look like they want him to be like the next Brock Lesnar. So hopefully I start like him again, because I think I'm gonna have to watch him for a long time. Mandy Rose versus Roxanne is going to be great next week. Tiffany Stratton got her win, which was important. I don't think Tiffany Stratton could have afforded another loss here, or her character was going to like. It's always easier for Wendy Choo to take a loss where she almost is a joke character already, where Tiffany Stratton should be taken as a legitimate athlete and stuff like that. Don't forget the Pretty Deadly versus Briggs and Jensen stuff. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that could be as soon as next week for the NXT UK tag titles. And yeah, congrats to the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Team 2001, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Great stuff. I'm happy to see them champions. Hopefully they don't lose. Like I said, one of the options for next week's NXT Women's Title match is Cora Jade turning heel on Roxanne already. So that could potentially get the titles right back to Toxic Attraction. But if it was me booking things, I would have Toxic Attraction already on SmackDown. SmackDown needs women. I think putting Toxic Attraction on SmackDown makes SmackDown way better. So maybe that's what they're going to go to. Maybe once we get all the titles off Toxic Attraction, we'll see them on SmackDown. Nothing too much from Nikita Lyons tonight. We did get to see her throwing around the Frisbee with Indy Hartwell in the beginning. And we also, Lisa Leon and Valentina Farah for the second week out of 3 are chilling with Sangha. So that's kind of a thing now. Sangha with 2 women on his arm. Duke Hudson getting the EU from them. That was funny. So yeah, a lot of good stuff tonight. We got to see some of the other women we haven't seen in a while, like Sloane Jacobs and Brooklyn Barlow. They were in that segment in their bikinis at the beginning. And yeah, overall, pretty good show. I think some stuff could have been better. There was a couple botches in the women's tag title match and the North American title match, but I don't think it killed them too bad. And like I said, they probably made that main event a little too boring in my opinion. Like, what's the point of being that boring about the story about a shoulder injury and then have Bron do a top rope Frankensteiner later in the match? So I don't understand that, but maybe you like that match. Like I know Kenneth here enjoyed that main event. So I'm gonna get going. I will talk to you guys again soon. I'll be back tomorrow with AEW coverage, and then if you're an NXT fan, I'll be back Thursday with NXT UK. So you guys have a great one, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.